This is Lansdowne ROAR. This is the voice of the fans. Coming up, we ask, is Nathan Collins ready to step up to the next level? What next for Evan Ferguson? And we take a look at how our boys in green got on across the water. It is Lansdowne ROAR. That's that music done. How's it going, everybody? You're very welcome to the latest edition of Lansdowne ROAR. A day early than we thought we'd do it, but there you go. That's the beauty of live streaming, I guess. David Dunn here, joined by Conor McAvoy, and of course we are live here on YouTube. We are live here on Facebook and Twitter, and most importantly, we are ad-free here on YouTube. Conor made a balls of the ads last week. So no ads this week at all. You are welcome. Of course, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. How it goes is have your say, get involved. There you go. It's in writing there. If you are listening back on the audio version of this, well, you should have watched this live then, shouldn't you? Of course, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. You can head over to Conor's at Rep Tracker as well. If you want an opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie, lansdowneroar.ie. We can also get an audio version of this, or wherever you get your podcast from, I suppose. We see the comments coming in there, guys. Thank you very much. We're going to spend about 30 minutes chatting away, and then we're going to get your comments. So do hold on tight. Keep them classy. Let's have a little quick look.
Look who's in there.
Rolling Stones in there. We got a few of the... Oh, well, that's not nice. TCM. You're lucky you're not getting banned from that. I'm watching the Masters.
You can do both.
You can do both. Yeah, you can have Masters on quietly on in the background, and you can listen to us, and have some fun. Yeah. But anyway, we hope you're good on this Sunday evening. Conor, how are you? It's not Easter Sunday, is it? That's next week.
No, that's next week. Shows how Irish you really are, doesn't it?
You don't have to be Irish like Easter.
No, it's Easter Sunday next Sunday. I'm happy. I didn't know it was Easter Sunday next Sunday until actually earlier on today. So
tell them what you're proud you are.
They celebrate it as well, don't they? But
I don't know. I'm not.
They celebrate it as well. It's still a Christian thing. But I'm good. I don't know what else to say really. There's not much to talk about at the moment. It's a bit of a boring week for football in general. But
well, there you go, Conor, the salesman as ever over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, anything that we talk about here, please comment, ask us a question, or anything you want to talk to us about. Latest stuff that we haven't thought of here, ask us a question. We're going to be on with you for the next approximately about 90 minutes. This is your 90 minutes of football after your weekend of football. And it was a snooze fest today, I must admit. But anyway, we're going to get on to the big one. Of course, the topic here is Nathan Collins. Is he ready for the next level? Hold on, let me get a picture of him there. Here we go. There you go. Collins ready for the next level? Question mark. Well, actually, before we do that, should we probably touch on last week's episode? In fact, will we do that? That's what the other podcasts do.
All right, go on, jump in there.
Yeah, I don't
know what you're going to come out with because God knows what you'll say.
Well, got a bit of a hiding last week after you ambushed me on the last episode that we did, the midweek roundup. We were accused of drug taking because
No.
We asked the question. No,
you were not me.
No. Well, whoever runs this page, we were asked, are we on drugs? Because could Kelleher go to United? We asked the question. People obviously hadn't listened and just got on the keyboards. No, we asked the question. We had a conversation, which you ambushed me with.
Mr. Prendergast's fault, actually. Shouldn't have put that tweet out.
You're the one that bloody said it. But I did get a fair bit of stick over that. Thank you for that, Conor.
Did you see the poll that we put out in Lansdowne ROAR Twitter? Will I tell you the results?
Tell us the results.
18% said it could happen. 66% said no chance. And 16% said no chance, but I wish it did. So the majority are in my camp. Your camp is in the bin because it's all just brainless people. Unless they're fans of me, but if they agree with you overall, they're brainless.
Conor, as gracious as ever. Look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and then we're going to tidy this up. I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm saying to you is your sense or lack thereof is, oh, well, they won't do business because they've never done business before. And I said, well, yeah, but they're not rivals at the moment. And you look at the State United, the sub goalkeeper, and he still made a howler, which is hilarious. And basically, yeah, I just think that if they went with a decent offer, United would do business. And if it's, that's what I think could happen. I'm not saying he will go. So
think away, mate. Think away.
Right, well, you think they're going to sell him to Chelsea, who are an actual rival?
No. I didn't say I think they will. I think they should.
You should, yeah. So don't sell him to a team that's
There's history though of them
near
two doing business with each other in the past.
Listen, Mo Johnson, was
Fernando
the first
Torres.
Catholic player to play for.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
I
that
know.
got to do with
Yossi
Man
better you.
United?
No, I'm just saying that
Royal
precedents.
Morales, Steven Gerrard was signed for Chelsea.
Precedents are there to be broken, right? There is a precedent there, but they get broken. Like your legs when I see you next time. Anyway, tell us what you think. Yeah, in June when I see you in Luxembourg, when I see you in Dublin, mate.
Scary. Sorry, sir.
That's more like it. Anyway, right, let's get into it. Nathan Collins. Yeah, is he ready for the next level? I know, Conor, as you know yourself, I've been a massive fan here of Nathan Collins on the podcast, and always talking him up. And obviously did a great favor in the league race yesterday, getting a lovely assist, making a very important block at the end, and making sure that Arsenal only dropped even more points. Is he ready for the next level?
Well, I don't at the moment. I don't want your answer on who's ready, and I don't want my opinion on is he ready for something. I want a public apology from yourself to Nathan Collins for all the damning things you said about him. He's suddenly now saying that you love him.
I believe in tough love, Conor, and that's what I do. Like Robbie Brady, I reinvigorated his career single-handedly, motivated him to play for another few years for Ireland.
And what about Drogheda United?
Tough love, Conor. Absolutely tough love. And look what they're doing at the moment, top of the league after I said to get relegated. That's what I do. I mean, leadership, Conor, can not be taught. It is natural. But yeah, just going back to Nathan Collins, I think I've always said he's had the potential to be a top player, but he does need to do the basics better. And you've said this, and you now I know you, Conor, like you take a bullet for these lads, little fanboy over there. Oh no, you can't badmouth all the Ireland players. I won't get a free shirt otherwise. I just tell it as it is. I'm a journalist over here, Conor. You're just a little fanboy, and I just tell it as it is, and you don't like it. Oh, look at me.
I'm not a fanboy. I just respect good footballers because there's certain footballers I tell you that are useless. Martin knows a certain one. No, just I want to get your opinion on Nathan Collins after yesterday because as a lot of the comments will know, you've been quite harsh on Nathan Collins at club level. No, more for Ireland level, but even at club level when he's been absolutely superb this season. Do you think he's ready for a step up? Because I think everyone knows my opinion, which I'll give after you because you lay more on the fence with him than I do.
I mean, look, he's only 23. I don't think I think he will be ready. I think he will be ready for the step up. Maybe not now, at the moment. He is only 23, and he's playing in a very good Brentford side. He will need to. I think when he's about maybe 25, then he could be ready, and he needs to play with better players. He needs to play in a better team.
It's crazy though. He's 23 still, though, isn't it? He's been around for so. When he first broke through at Stoke, and the fact he's still only 23. I know he's turning 24 this year, but still it makes no odds. Really, he's been around. He's been like Thomas Muller was like. Do you remember when Thomas Muller first broke through, and then it got to a stage, and you're like, oh, he's only 25. Well, that's just an example of someone, but it's mad. It's mad to think that Nathan Collins is still only that age, and to see the moves he's had and what he's done at international level for Ireland. Like when he scored that goal against Ukraine, what was he, 21? 20? Yeah, that was mad.
20. Yeah, it was a great goal. The one where he did a bit of a Maradona, didn't he? not the hand of God. Yeah, no, I do think he probably needs maybe another season at Brentford, and then he will have to play with better players. He needs, I've accused a lot of Irish players over the past of going for the cozy option, and I stand by that. I absolutely stand by that. Roy Keane would always say it. If I didn't push myself, I would have ended up somewhere like Wolverhampton Wanderers. He said, I think in the second book, or it's a quote somewhere anyway. And I just hope nothing against Brentford. It's in London, or just outside of London, West London, I suppose. Um, it's a nice place. I'm sure he never has to work again. But now you're at that stage. You want to go to the next level. You want to push yourself. You want to play in the Champions League, and that's where he needs to be at. And I think maybe another season, maybe 2 seasons at Brentford, playing in the Premier League, learning, and then he moves up, steps up to a bigger, better club, better players, and then just goes on from strength to strength, and he become a mainstay in the top 4 team in the Premier League, playing Champions League football. That's what I want from him.
Yeah.
I think he's got the tools for it. He's a ball playing centre half. I think with Ireland, there's a little bit of not immaturity, impatience. I think with Ireland, where he has to do too much. We both said that. We've watched him live. He tries to do too much as an
himself.
Yeah, as an international, you have to adapt to your surroundings, and he has to adapt that he's not playing. He doesn't really have a midfield in front of him. I know Martin's not here to defend his boys, but let's be honest, he doesn't. And he's, and we've seen what he could do. Like he's a lovely foot on him. Like he's a lovely pass. I was watching Liverpool today, and some of the passing from Van Dijk. He has a bit of that in his locker. I'm not saying he's as good as Van Dijk, but he has a bit of that in his locker. He can play lovely through ball. He just needs to develop that. He needs to know when to play it and just relax, just calm down and cut out the simple mistakes. Don't ball watch as much as he does. He does do that. He does ball watch, watch the man, not the ball. But he's only 23, and I think he's got all of that in his locker, and I think he's on an upward trajectory, and he's going the right way. And yeah, I think he will. I think he will be a top 4 player.
Yeah, I would agree with all that, really. And I wouldn't rule out the fact that a team abroad could be looking at him heavily. I remember it was reported in January, before I think Juventus ended up signing Lloyd Kelly for like 15 million. They were never going to Collins for that much, but they were interested in Collins and have been looking at him. Like the stats back Everton up, the eye test backs Everton up with him. And even more importantly, some people seem to forget out, he's only one of 2 outfielders to play every single minute in the Premier League this season, which just shows that he keeps his body right, he keeps himself in shape, he doesn't pull up with injuries. He obviously is a top professional. He's captain Ireland already multiple times at 23. You can tell he loves the role of being the leader in the Irish setup, which I'd imagine he's in with Brentford as well. Obviously, some of the games he hasn't played up to his standard now, but I think he is ready for the next level. When you look at the top 6 Premier League teams, when you look at Liverpool, obviously they wouldn't really go for a player like Collins. Man City, you'd say he's better than that lad from Uzbekistan, but they'll probably strengthen with some random fella from God knows where in the summer, and they do have depth in the centre back position. Arsenal, they won't be signing the centre half. Man United, yeah, centre half, they're not actually that weak, but in terms of a right side, the centre back and the back 3 they play, they probably don't need a right side with Yarrow and De Ligt, and even Mazraoui plays there as well for them, so they're probably fine there. Spurs, I don't think anyone wants them to go to Spurs, really. And in fairness, they're probably the 2 best players you probably would say would be our 2 most players that you think could be the top players is Romero and Van de Ven, but obviously both of them are injury prone. And Chelsea, you just don't know what Chelsea will just sign in about 60 centre backs in the summer probably again, and that'll be them. But like when you look at clubs like Juventus, big clubs in Spain, other big clubs in Italy, I don't know if you'd say France. You probably wouldn't say France, but there will be interest from all over in Nathan Collins when you're doing what he's doing at Brentford. And the thing is, with the way Brentford are, the way they're run, if the right money comes in for a player and the player says, I'd like to make the move, they'd let the deal happen, because the way they have their scouting system, the way they've everything set up, they can bring in their next Nathan Collins within almost instantly. I would probably say he will do another season at Brentford, unless there's some big standout move from maybe abroad, because I don't see going top 6 this summer in the Premier League, unless maybe, I don't know who would be on the cusp of top 6, maybe an Aston Villa. You wouldn't even really say Brighton, because Brighton probably wouldn't invest in a centre back that's already ready made. You just don't know. It's hard. It's a thing where he's so good, but you just don't know where he would go, because the way the landscape is with centre halves. But I do think he is on the cusp of being a very, very special footballer, and he is Ireland's mainstay at centre half for the next 10, even maybe 15 years. If he continues to play every game like he is and never get injured and keep his body right, I know people say that's a lot of minutes in the legs, but it's a lot better having them minutes in the legs rather than tearing the ACL here or there or having a really bad record with injuries. Like, say, for example, Andrew Omobamidele is had with he's been very unlucky with injuries, but no, it's a he's a top talent, and I think he's only getting better with every. It seems to be every week that goes by, it seems to be more and more people are jumping on the Collins hype train because it is a hype train really with Collins, isn't it? It's kind of started slow. It was big at one point, then kind of derailed, and now it's back in full order with David Dunn as the figurehead driving it.
Well, I mean, I wish him absolutely nothing but the best of luck, and I think he will do it. Of course, it's amazing, as you said, he keeps his body right, hasn't been injured. He's been, you need a bit of luck there as well. One lad who hasn't had any of that luck, in our opinion, here, this man here, Evan Ferguson. Of course, that's after he scored that great goal against Bulgaria in the 2-1 win in Lansdowne ROAR. And of course, today, yet again, here they were, just like chasing the game. Liverpool were terrible. They were good in the first half, and then fell away. And then basically West Ham probably should have won the game. To be honest, I think they hit the woodwork 2 or 3 times. Really poor. And you just felt if somebody could have gone on there and caused a bit of a nuisance for the lads at Liverpool's defence is starting to look a bit creaky and shaky. Obviously, the mix up between the two lads, and you're thinking this could be a game for Evan Ferguson. Somebody to go in there and kind of run amok a little bit and, just kind of put himself about for the last 10 minutes. Didn't happen. He just sat on the bench, chasing the goal. And I thought, wow, they got it in the end. But of course, it was an own goal by Virgil van Dijk. Sorry, Andy Robertson, because he hit off Virgil van Dijk. I know, it was bad, wasn't it? But to be fair, Van Dijk did make up for it. And just really, really poor. I'm trying to get some stats here on Evan Ferguson on this season.
Sort of stats you looking for here?
Just how long he's played for. How many times he's played for West Ham? He's played 19 times this season in the Premier League with 1 goal. That's all I can find there. But just
for West Ham in the Premier League, I think he's only played like 3-4 times. Hold on, he has played one. No, sorry. For West Ham, he has played in the Premier League. He's played 6 games. The maximum he has played in any game has been 45 minutes. When he came on at half time in his debut, which he did look good, and then he played 45 minutes. That Wolves game he came off at half time. Like he's had 1 star cameos of what? 8 minutes, 17 minutes, 21 minutes, 1 minute, and then the last 2 games he's been on the bench. I don't know who West Ham play next, but it's not looking good. It is a field move. I'm honestly, Dave, I'm sick. I keep going on Twitter at the moment, and I don't want to badmount anyone, but there's a lot of, oh my God, Evan Ferguson needs to move abroad. He needs to know what he's doing next. What's he going to go? Where's he going to go from here? Let him leave. What a field move is. And it's just thinking of, I know it gets clicks, and I know people comment on it, and it creates traction, but I'm just sick of looking at it. Like after every single game he's played, it's like I might as well just borrow my phone for the 3-hour spell that Evan Ferguson is involved in a football match, because it's just draining really. And I've just noticed there they play Southampton next, which would be a game you'd love them to play and score goals. But the reality is they'll probably start Fulcrook up front because he is their striker for their future, in terms of he'll be there next season. And then after that, they play Brighton. So obviously he can't play that game either. So that's whatever way he'll go to. How many games are left? 6, 4?
Well,
6 games left
at the moment, yeah. But that's 5 if you count the Brighton games.
Yeah, so that's 5. When it gets to the last couple of games, they're staying up, will they just bring in some lad from the academy and just let him play minutes because they're trying to invest for next summer?
Yeah, I mean, this is. I've been on here before. I just want to make it very clear. This isn't an attitudinal thing, if that's even the word. We've had young lads in the past and maybe currently at the moment having attitude issues at clubs. There's nothing like that. As you said, he's had an issue. He didn't have a pre-season. He's come into it quite late. He hasn't hit the ground running. I think I think he's been harshly treated. I think some Irish fans, and I know they're listening. So I'm in conversation with them today. Let's just say in a different WhatsApp group, and they were absolutely tearing into him, saying that it's a cop out. I gave my reasons. It's the whole thing of Potter probably thought he was going to get him on the cheap because I think it was like £50 million asset. Now he's down to about 32 million euros. Like just on the internet, whatever that is, and he's depreciating in value because he's sputtering all over the place at the moment. And he thought, we'll get him on the cheap pre-season, blah blah blah. Tried to do business with Brighton. They said absolutely not. You're not going to get him on the cheap. We know this boy's talented. They can't be happy either because it's a depreciation of an asset. And yeah, pretty much he's went, well, okay, we're not going to get relegated. Currently, West Ham are 17th position, right, after today's loss. They're 14 points clear of Ipswich Town, okay? And there are 18 points up for grabs. So West Ham aren't going down. So they've nothing really to play for, So I just think that's unlucky, son. I don't know whose idea it was. It was a poor decision. Where it was the player's decision pushing it through, saying, "Oh no, this guy can help me." Whether he was told that Potter will get him back on track, and I know the kind of player you are, son. I'll get you playing, blah blah blah, and it turned out to be a load of nonsense. Then shame on him. If it's the agent pushed it, shame on the agent. And if Evan's the one that pushed it, well, it's experience, isn't it, son? He's only 20 years of age. And I just think it's been very bad for him, and I hate to see it. And I do think he is the real deal. Some lads saying for those reasons to cop out. You know who you are. You're listening, and I'm sure we'll be getting some WhatsApps. And I'm telling you what, Conor, I'm with you. I think he'll get a good pre-season. Sorry, he'll actually get a pre-season. He's going to hit the ground running next season, and they're all going to be like, "Oh my God, look how amazing!" And I'm going to turn around and say to those lads, "Say no, you don't get to cheer for Evan. He's ours."
Go on.
Yeah.
That's why you support him no matter what, and you just know it's going to turn around because he's too good to not turn around, and it's just been unlucky. Is obviously every player can do more to get themselves out of a rut, but I think he just needs that summer break. He needs that Ireland set up again in June, because the reality is if the last thing is on his brain is scoring for Ireland in June against Luxembourg, then he can go to pre-season with more confidence rather than, say, for example, his last memory is sitting on the bench West Ham or plays 20 minutes and gets booed, or it just ends up being a failure, and then he goes into pre-season. He probably won't go in the best mind frame of mind. But looking back in reality now, is hindsight. Like when you think of the West Ham loan, like I initially was all for it because I thought Potter would know him.
We all thought it was a good idea.
They need a striker. There was no reason not to think good. But then when you look back and like when a team is playing for nothing, the reality is the manager is just going to go with what's preparing for next season at this stage, because Potter came in mid-season. This year was probably just keep the thing afloat, and make sure we do finish all right. But it's just about like, well, if they were fighting to finish in Europe, yeah, you might maybe Ferguson scored a couple of goals or done well. They'd keep bringing them in to try and get them to help them get over the line. But the fact is they're staying up, and they're preparing for next season with Fulcrook as one of their striker options. And if he can score a couple of goals between now and the end of the season, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And don't forget that, did you know Evan Ferguson has a patella tendon problem?
Oh, yeah, Rolling Stone. Did you know that, Rolling Stone? I'm not sure if Rolling Stone knows that he has a patella problem. Patella. It's your knee. It's his knee.
There's no N in it.
Patella. Christ. Yeah. No. Listen. Best of luck to him. But yeah, we just want to get that clear because I think a lot of a lot of people think, oh, well, it must be an attitude problem. Well, the last manager didn't like him. This manager doesn't like. I think he's just very, very unlucky. And we believe he's the real deal. I've seen enough of him, and I think when he gets a preseason, hopefully he goes away, does a kickboxing camp or something, comes back, has a preseason, just focus on your fitness, get fit, get match fit, go to a mountain somewhere, wash your hair with Timotei. That's for the old generation.
2-3 years Dagestan.
Yeah, go up there, sort yourself out wherever that is.
You have a clue what I'm on about?
No,
it's an MMA reference. Send your kid 2-3 years to Dagestan, and they'll become basically an unbelievable at wrestling. Basically,
There you go. And I'm sure he'd be sorted. The season's a write off. Just hopefully it just makes. If you're watching Evan, I'm sure you're not. I don't know how you say that. Just make yourself more determined and come back better. Before we get into the IBIG, actually, you want to talk about this lad here, Roland Ado got a screamer, up in the SPL. Let me play this little video, Conor, that you shared on Twitter, and you can tell us a bit more about it.
Roland, what's that moment like for you?
It's what you dream of.
That goal means top 6! That's what the goal means, Jimbo! Come on!
In Dublin called Lucan. And this is what they dream for.
That's the boy! That's the Dublin!
Yes,
That's the Dublin in us! They call me
top 6, yeah!
That was the club censoring that, not us. I said Dublin, little town called Lucan. I know it very well.
Do you know who the other Irish player in that video is?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You were meant to be here reporting on Irish players about who's going to break into the Irish national team. You don't even know who people have been.
Thanks, Conor. That's Conor throwing me under the bus as he does every week. Whilst I was doing all the.
I'll give you the first team. You give the second, and I'll redeem himself. Killian. A TV brand.
Huh?
Not LG.
Phillips?
Hey. Yes, Killian Phillips, who a lot of people have been clamouring to hopefully get a chance in the Ireland senior team as soon as possible.
Thank you.
But no.
Thank you for making a shit of me again, Conor, and I cannot wait to return the favour.
No, just get on the ball. Get on the ball. All Mr. Right. Prendergast would have known that, and he will confirm it.
He would. No, we're not going to swear. It's a swear-free zone. No, he wouldn't have.
But no, it was great to see that the weekend for Roland Ado. That video is really heartwarming as such, isn't it? You have to see the passion he has for that. He put in an Instagram post the other day saying with the pictures of him celebrating after taking the top off after scoring the late goal, and then putting a picture of the cage that he would have played in and looking back as a kid, where, as he says, where people dream of aspiring to get to. But no, it was great to see he secured top. He got that 86th minute. They came from behind twice to end up winning 3-2 for St. Mirren, who are now guaranteed top 6, which puts them in the championship round as such in the SPFL. And Killian Phillips obviously is doing very, very well for them. If you remember, Dave, he scored against Celtic. He got man of the match against Rangers. He's probably on the cusp of things for the extra games. I'd say he'll probably be in that squad if it's not clashing with the Scottish season, which I'd imagine we will hear something. If there's going to be extra games, we'll probably hear, and if it's going to be in May, we'll be here in the next week or so, you'd hope, because if it's going to be mid-May, that would be a month. So just for people to be aware of what's going on. And no, Dave, it's just good to see lads doing so well in Scotland. We had obviously he's not on the list. Your friend Emmanuel Adebayoga scoring a winner for Dundee United against who were they playing? They were playing St. Johnstone. Sam Curtis and Graham Carey play for them. Winner against them, which is Dundee United, or I think they're third at the moment in the Scottish League, which is a very solid season for them. He's on loan from Norwich, and he's either probably going to be in the Norwich first team next season, or if not, he'll probably get a good move because he's good. He's been at Leah Bloomer, came through the League of Ireland, was at Dundalk, then went to Drogheda to get first team football, and now he's doing really well in the UK. And actually, something Roland Stone has said, I think it's important to mention now before we go into IBIG, is Jack Henry Francis being on the bench for Arsenal against Brentford for the first time, Dave. Absolutely superb footballer. Watching him last season on loan at Sligo Rovers in the League of Ireland, he was absolutely different class from him. Joy to watch the way he plays football, his ability on the ball, his work rate, his energy, most importantly, is his end product, because he's not just a midfielder who dictates things, but he's able to get on the front foot, to slip in nice balls for his teammates and score goals. And he's probably something we would lack in our midfield. And if he can I don't know if he'll ever break through at Arsenal because of the level there. But the fact is, if he's making the bench in the Premier League, hopefully he might make his debut before the end of the season, and then he'll get a really good loan next year because he was very close to joining Shells in January. Actually, he was about to sign for Shells on loan, and they end up signing someone that Kerr McEnroe, who was obviously a permanent signing and didn't want to get burned with the loan thing again, like what happened with Will Jarvis last season. So no, it was just one that I think we should all watch out for is Jack Henry Francis, because he's an exceptional young footballer.
Okay. We do have a comment section for that, Conor, just saying.
I think it's just important to mention it before we go into iBig because I'll end up forgetting.
It's in the comments. We go through the comments. And by the way, I'm the only one that gets to touch the comment button. You keep your grubby little paws out that. I'm the host.
Sorry, just because you didn't know who Killian Phillips was.
I am the history man of Irish football. You are the future man of Irish football. That's why it works. It's supposed to work
This is
anyway.
the present.
Well, he's the future, really, isn't he? How many games did he play for Ireland?
Yeah, he's played quite a number at under 21 level.
No. But play for Ireland senior team, as you well know, you cheeky.
What is the senior team? You can still be part of the present, not be the senior team yet.
Right, let's get into goalies. As ever, Conor we're running a bit behind because Conor just wants to, show off. Right, let's get on to goalies. And Conor, yes, please do correct any mistakes that I've made. Here we go. Mark Travers, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss against Millwall. 90 minutes for Josh Keeley in a 3-1 over Crawley. And Max O'Leary, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw with Bristol City.
You mean with QPR?
Sorry, yeah, for Bristol City. Sorry, it just threw me off there because I don't know what happened there with Queven Gallagher.
Must have been put on hide. You mustn't have unhid his name. Hopefully the rest.
This is what happens when you mess up my... Yes, well, Queven Gallagher just sat on the bench. So he's going to be leaving.
Sad, isn't it? It's sad to see him back on the bench, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, like Addison showed his absolute skill. I mean, he kept Liverpool in that team. He is probably the best goalie in the world right now, Alisson. But yeah, he'd be somewhere else. Maybe Old Trafford.
Oh, stop.
Matt Doherty, 45 minutes to the 4-2 win over Spurs for Wolves. Jacob Bryan, 90 minutes in a 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest for Everton. Nathan Collins, 90 minutes and an assist in a glorious 1-1 draw against Arsenal. Darren O'Shea, 90 minutes and a 2-2 draw with Chelsea. James Abanko, 64 minutes and 2-1 loss against West Bromwich Albion. Jimmy Dunn, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw with Bristol City. Robbie Brady, 64 minutes and a 2-1 loss to Leeds United. Callum O'Dowd, 90 minutes and a 1-0 loss against Stoke. Seamus Coleman, not in the squad. Or would he be? Liam Scales, 90 minutes and an assist on his return in a 5-1 win over Kilmarnock. Shane Duffy, 90 minutes and 2-1 loss against Burnley for Norwich. Mark McGuinness, 90 minutes and a 1-0 loss against Blackburn for Luton Town. Ryan Manning, 82 minutes and a 3-0 loss against Aston Villa for relegated Southampton. Andrew Amabamidele, nice return for him, 90 minutes and a 2-2 draw with Nice. John Egan will play on Monday, we hope, against Hull City. Aaron Cashin and Nice up for Brighton. There's a shock. And Samuel Garcia McNulty, 90 minutes and 1-1 draw with FC20 for PC Zwolle. And Will Ferry, 90 minutes and a 1-0 win against St. Johnstone for Dundee United. Yep. I mean, we've already waxed quite lyrically about Mr. Collins, but yeah, Jacob Bryan just continues. What a win for them.
Yeah.
Forest as well, very tough.
A last-minute winner, and John O'Shea was actually there at that game. Probably would have preferred if he went to a different game on a Saturday at 3 p.m. because I think he's seen enough of Jacob Bryan. But no, it was good to see John O'Shea there. Good win for Everton, who are on a roll. I think probably the best news to the defenders at the weekend was the return of Andrew Omobamidele. Obviously, he has been back playing off the bench, but getting 90 minutes in the legs against a very good Nice side. Obviously, Strasbourg are on a roll at the moment. They don't seem to lose any games anymore. But it's huge to have him back because he's such a talent. It's just about staying fit because we don't know at the moment how much we can trust him fitness-wise. But great to have him back. I think Aaron Cashin, they played Baliba, the midfielder, at centre half the other day. I don't know whether it was Hurster back doing his woke nonsense. Before we get any views, that is just a figure of speech, not actually being woke. Playing a centre mid at centre half, probably because they're playing Leicester, and it's only low Leicester who are getting relegated, and we can just do whatever we want against them. So it was a pity to see Mr. Cashin on the bench for that. And I don't think any other defenders of note that we should, or maybe Liam Scales. Good to see him back, actually. That assist he got was probably the most straightforward assist you've ever seen. Did you see it? He just passed it across to Cameron Carter-Vickers, who scored from 40 yards out. So the thing is, the assist and assist. A lot of people, some people were commenting on my post saying laughing face after, it was like an assist is an assist, and whether you make a 40-yard diagonal to someone in the box or you pass it to someone who scores from 50 yards out, it's still an assist, isn't it?
That's it. Good on them. Liam Scales. Of course, Celtic can win the league next week. Looked like we were going to win the league today until Rangers got last minute equaliser. Anyway, let's move it on to the midfield. Josh Cullen, 90 minutes and an assist and a 2-1 win over Norwich. They go top of the championship. Jason Knight, 90 minutes and a 1-1 draw with QPR. Will Smallbone, 29 minutes and a 3-0 loss against Aston Villa. Jack Taylor, 14 minutes and a 2-2 draw with Chelsea today. Benazaz, 90 minutes and a 1-0 loss against Millwall for Middlesbrough. Mark Sykes not in the squad. Jason Malumbi suspended for his red card for West Brom. Andy Moore and on-use sub again. Jamie McGrath still injured for Aberdeen. Probably won't play again for them this season. He is off to Hibs anyway next season. Alan Brown, 85 minutes. He's playing right back in the moment for Sunderland. The 1-0 loss against Swansea. Luke O'Connell, 90 minutes and a 4-1 win against Bolton for Barnsley. Boston Lawal, yet again, your boy not getting a lick. Conor Coventry, 90 minutes, a 1-0 win against Cambridge for Charlton. John Joe Patrick Finn, 27 minutes and a 2-0 win against RC Lens for Stade Ram. And Milenik Ali, I'll probably butcher that again, 90 minutes and a 1-0 loss against Blackburn for Luton Town. Good to see Stade Ram go up the table, but clearly, he's only getting bits and pieces, John Patrick, isn't he? Still, though, deserves inclusion in June.
Yeah, 100%. I still have him in. People are giving out, saying, "No, he's not doing enough. He's not doing enough." And it's like, have you seen the state of our midfield? Like, I watch the championship every single week. I watched Millwall against Middlesbrough the other day, Dave, and honestly, it was one of the worst games I've ever watched. And people go on about the standard, such a competitive, it is a competitive league, but it's usually shit against shit because it's
language,
style of play. I don't know what Carrick is doing with Middlesbrough at the moment because there's so much talent, and he keeps putting Finazaz on the wing. Iheanacho, do you remember Iheanacho that was at Leicester for years, signed for them in January. Their fans absolutely hate him. He's been terrible. I see he got dropped the other day, and someone commented on it. Fatty finally dropped, which made me laugh.
Wow.
But because they've been playing him as the 10 as such, and then putting Azaz out on the left. And then they done it when they dropped the Iheanacho at the weekend. They put Azaz still on the left. If they want to be at their best, they need to have him in the 10, which makes no sense to me. Middlesbrough now probably aren't really are struggling now to get playoffs. Obviously, it should have been. Thing is, they could still get in, but it should have been straightforward for them. If you get me, getting in the playoffs. Like, good to see actually Conor Coventry with Charlton. It looks like they'll finish in the playoffs, which will leave obviously them a chance of going up, which would be good to see him back in the championship. He should be playing in the championship. Like, he's not a League One level player, but he's had to rebuild his career. But actually, Josh Cullen, the assist the other night, you know what his pass accuracy percentage was?
Go on.
99%. Not bad going. Completed 72 or 71 out of 72 passes, which is a very good stat. Obviously, he does a lot of just keep it ticking over, but he does take risks, a lot more risks when he plays for Burnley than when he plays for Ireland. And actually with Mark Sykes, I don't know if you consider it in the squad or not, because he was meant to be starting and then he got injured in the warm-up, and then obviously then someone came onto the bench and someone else started instead of him. So
okay, yeah.
It wasn't that he was not selected or anything. And I think with the Irish lads at Stoke, just get the season over and done with, because at least I think the fact that they got that late goal against Captain Cod the other day has pretty much sealed that they'll stay up. if they probably win this weekend, you think they might experiment a bit more to bring in Boston? Because the thing is, they paid a lot of money for Boston in the future to be their main man in midfield for the long term, or at least the next couple of years. And he's still under contract, I think, for another 3 years after this year. So you think Mark Robbins will kind of be a tap on the shoulder to say, start playing this lad because he's in our plans, or because they don't want to take a loss on him already. Like,
Yeah, there's 4 games left for most teams in the championship. Of course, you say Stoke, they're 47. Cardiff, well, they're not mathematically safe yet. They could still go down.
what are the 41? Is it Cardiff are on?
Cardiff are on 42.
So 5 in it.
Stoke are 47. And yeah, it's 46 games. So there's 4 games. So still 12 points to play for.
So I think one more win will as good as solidify. I think the only thing I would say though, Dave, is they've Sheffield Wednesday next. With Sheffield Wednesday, obviously you've seen the situation with not paying players, isn't great. But after that, if they don't beat Sheffield Wednesday, they have Leeds away, and then they've Sheffield United at home. 2 teams that are trying to obviously get up, and then they've Derby last game of the season. So if they don't beat Sheffield Wednesday this weekend, the pressure is really back on them. So actually, yes, it's next Friday. So
so it's still
it's Good Friday. Actually, next Friday is Good Friday.
Yeah,
so
still
it's 3:00 games.
Yeah, still a lot to play for there. In the championship. Moving on to attackers, then we'll get on to the comments. Troy Parrott, a knock. He missed a game there today. Evan Ferguson on new sub for West Ham. Adam Eden, 60 minutes and a 5-1 win over Kilmarnock. He did not get a goal. Sinclair Armstrong, 6 minutes and a 1-1 draw with QPR. 82 minutes and a goal for Mikey Johnston and a 2-1 win over Watford. Rockavata, 27 minutes and a 2-1 loss against West Brom. Tom Cannon, 69 minutes and a 2-1 loss against Plymouth. The manager actually started squaring up to one of the players of Plymouth as well. Sammy Smolich, I know. Sammy Smolich is injured. Festia Basela, an unused sub. Istanbul, he got a win over Besiktas, actually. Casey McAteer got 90 minutes. Well, played 98 minutes in a 2-2 draw with Brighton. Chidozie Ogbeni, of course, still injured for Ipswich. Conor Robinson, 57 minutes and that 1-0 loss against Stoke. 6-pointer, really. Michael Obafemi, unused sub for their 2-1 win against Sheffield United. Aaron Conley not in the Millwall squad. Tyler Goodrum, 78 minutes and a 1-0 loss over Sheffield Wednesday for Oxford. And Ademo Amaku, 58 minutes and a 1-0 win over Middlesbrough for
Idemo,
sorry.
And by the way, Oxford United beat Sheffield Wednesday the other day. Just to let you know. You said 1-0 loss to Sheffield Wednesday to beat them 1-0.
Just make sure you're paying attention. So obviously, Aaron Conley, any news on him? Obviously, the rest of
I think it's an injury, to be honest.
Okay, so
he would be playing, like he'd probably be starting, like, because he was in decent form.
He
started the game before that. He came out of the squad. It actually came to me there when you said knock with Troy Parrott, because I had it in my article for the Irish Times. If you want to check that out, live now in the Irish Times. You want to go to Rep Tracker. But Gav Mizuno, because it wasn't on the goalkeeper as well. He missed tonight's game for Standard Liège with a knock as well. Got injured in training the other day.
Oh, is he not? Oh, okay.
He wasn't, for some reason. He was not. It must have been he was hidden as well. Casey McAteer, I think, was the biggest surprise of the weekend. The fact he just randomly came into the squad and started, gone from, I think it was his first start since I think
sums up Leicester.
December.
Sums up Leicester.
Yeah, because it's weird. Van Nistelrooy liked him at the start, and then he came out, and then he came back in, and then he came out again, and then he came back in. Unless he's been carrying a knock over the last couple of weeks, but like, very odd. But he actually done well. From everything I read, he done very well. I've seen bits. I've seen probably in total, I've probably seen about 15 minutes of the game, but because I was switching between all the games. But he seemed to do well. Leicester fans, he's one that Leicester fans honestly aren't the biggest fan of, but they seemed to impress with him the other day, which is good to see. Like, he's not ready to be a Premier League player anytime soon, but the fact they'll get relegated will help his career, I think, big time, because he'll play a lot more minutes again next season in the Championship. And he still is an option for Ireland going forward. We probably have better wing options for the future, but you never know if he can kick on next season at Leicester, you never know. I think seeing did you see Mikey Johnson's goal the other day? Absolutely brilliant finish. Has put West Brom right back in the hunt to get a playoff spot. Beat Watford 2-1. His goal ended up being the winning goal, and his former Celtic teammate Alameda failed to score again, which is a bit of a worry that they scored 5 goals in the first. Was it 5 goals in the first half, and he wasn't involved in any of them in any context. Also, I actually found a very scary stat about Tom Cannon at the weekend. Played 68 69 minutes, and touched the ball 11 times against Plymouth, which is a very worrying stat. I know he's a striker and you're going to touch the ball a bit less, but he needs to be more involved in the build-up play if he wants to get back in the Ireland setup. And there's been a lot of, I know you said about Chris Wilder, there's been a lot of criticism from him as of late because he did an interview not that long ago. Because the numbers in terms of Sheffield United's numbers as a team, their league position didn't back up about how well they were playing according to the numbers. And then he's seen some interviews, people slating his numbers when they were like second in the league or first in the league. And then he did that interview, and ever since they've lost like 4 of the last 5 games because of it, and it's kind of come back to bite them. The fact that they have all this attacking talent and they're not creating chances or they're not putting chances away. So I know Cannon still hasn't scored at Sheffield United, but I don't think the style of play is great there. I think it's a very average manager with a group of players that are probably too good for the championship. Like when you have a player like Gustavo Hammer playing in the championship for Sheffield United, like this should be probably the squad they have. This should be guaranteed automatic promotion. But that was just my waffle on the attackers.
There you go. Thank you for that. Right, we're going to get into the comments. Of course, just a quick reminder. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. YouTube.
Dave, can I jump into something before? Actually, just wanted to point to make
very quickly
from a Mr. ROAR faithful member, Deck Finnegan, actually tweeted the other day at the match about QPR against Bristol City with 2 Irishmen captaining either side, with Jason I captaining Bristol City and we had Jimmy Dunn captaining QPR, which we never really see happen from 2 Irishmen captain opposing each other in modern times, really. So it was just good to see. It's just a good thing that Deck pointed out.
Yeah,
QPR fan, of course.
Not the last 20 years. Used to see it all the time.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. You see Irish players in the top teams in the top division all the time. And
Captain Cod now.
Yeah, well, Martin's not here to defend them. So there you go. Right. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. Head over to Conor there, Rep Tracker. Also check out his Irish Times column there. Thank you, by the way, to the 1300 Abby watching us here on a Sunday night. Amazing stuff. And I know it's going to go up by the time we're finished here. And also, if you haven't already, head over to lansdowneroar.ie, lansdowneroar.ie, where you can get a audio version of this and opinion, and also get wherever you get your podcast from as well. Okay, Conor, are you ready for the comments?
Go on, dive in.
Right. So we're going to be on, guys, for the next 45 minutes, and then we're going to wrap it up. Kieran Leog with Xerxes injury today. Seems like Morehouse will definitely make an appearance before the season's end. What does he need to show to make the June camp? What do you think he needs to do to get into that June camp, Conor?
Probably get minutes at Man United, really. Just get minutes and get a chance in the team. I think he will get minutes before the end of the season, definitely, because they've nothing to play for in the Prem. I don't think Xerxes' injury, I think that's just like one less member probably of the first team squad, but because Xerxes been really playing as a number 9 option because Rasmus is crap. Morehouse will probably fit in one of them number 10 roles that he plays, so he'll definitely get minutes, especially when you see Harry Amos getting minutes today. Amarin seems to want to give young lads a chance, and he seems to be a big fan of Morehouse. But if he makes his debut before the end of the season, Dave, simple as, I'd have him in that Ireland squad for June. Try and remove any doubt of England coming in from.
Fair. Also, how many players did he bring in for June? Love the content now. It's coming over for the Senegal game from America. Good man, Kieran. And we will be there. So we will be live in Lansdowne Road for that. And also we'll be over in Luxembourg as well. Remember, guys, wherever they go, we go. To a good man, Kieran. How many players? Probably 40-man squad, I'd imagine. Like, you'd have a camp for us and maybe the games. What do you reckon?
No way they'll pay for 40 men to come into a camp.
You don't think
Ireland pay for 40 men to come into a camp?
Yeah.
No. When's the last time they've done that?
I don't know.
I think they'll just do a between 23 and 26 man or 28 man squad for the Senegal and Luxembourg game, and then they might have that extra camp for the fringe players before that with another 23 men or 18 men in.
But
And
would it not make sense though to, like, I know we haven't done it for a while, probably since the Martin O'Neill days when they used to pick like 40 players for a squad and then bring it all down. But I think they might make an exception because he sort of needs to do this. They have to
I'd
be
love if
fair.
that happened. I'd love if that happened. I just don't think it will.
I think it will. I hope it does, and like yourself. But I think the reason why is because they will, he could turn around and say, "Look, guys, I haven't had any time with these players other than windows, and you don't get a lot of time with the players, and you don't. You really, really don't. So let me have a camp. Let me bring in 40 of them, and I think they'll do it. If they're fair to the manager, they will. That's what I believe. That's what I would do, Kieran.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Alex, lads, the debate around Keller joining United is nonsensical. Not only would it never happen, but he wouldn't even be an upgrade on Onana. Oh dear. Yes, Onana is having a shock at the moment, but he was class at all his previous clubs. Problems United and Keller would also crumble there. No question.
At least Keller won't fail any drug tests.
Has Onana failed a drug test?
Yep. He was out for a year. He was banned for a year at Ajax for PEDs. He said his food was contaminated, as they always say.
It was in the eggs. Okay.
Well, he was living in Amsterdam, but it wasn't any substances like that. But it was PEDs. He got caught for.
I wonder how a player in Amsterdam would have to get around that if you're playing for Ajax. Like, would you have to walk around in an oxygen mask because it's legal over there?
Probably just don't live in the city centre as such.
That's a mad one. Well, first of all, Alex, like the debate here that you bring up. Well, no, the debate is, yet again, it's been misconstrued because people hear something and then go, ah! They don't actually go, oh, hold on, why don't we watch and listen? Maybe have, I don't know. The debate was, would Liverpool sell to United? I think they would. I absolutely think they would. I think football's changing. The landscape's changing. They're not a threat anymore to to Liverpool. They're not. And they're not. And it's not even tribalism. Saying that he wouldn't be an upgrade on Onana? Nah. Onana's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Kelleher has, in my opinion, Conor, Kelleher has the elite mentality. He'll make a mistake. He will make a mistake. And it's gone from his mind.
Yeah.
That's elite mentality. And he does that. Onana makes mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. He even talked about it on social media, bigged himself up, and made 2 mistakes during the week. I've never known a goalkeeper, Conor, at Man United who had to be dropped to disconnect from football. A paid professional having to be dropped to disconnect from football.
De Gea should have been dropped at times. He was fucking useless.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he also did at least De Gea for a number of years. So it's probably the best goalie in the world. United in games. Anyway, no, I don't agree with that. Kelleher would be perfect for United, but United have a massive rebuild. And do you know what? Just quickly on it, Conor, I don't know where to go from here because you got PSR, you have all sorts of restrictions, and they have to actually, because they haven't won anything. They haven't competed in the Champions League for a while.
One season, mate. One season.
One season. Wow,
and
forever, doesn't it?
And if they win the Europa League, that PSR
it's
is a lot more stretch. So I think you're too early to say yet.
Okay. All right. That's right. We'll wait till the season finishes. Yeah, but if they don't win the Europa League, then
the thing is, Onana's not actually a bad keeper. It's just that he's just the people can't live up to the United pressure.
And and here's the thing with Kelleher. He's doing the business. When he's been called upon, he's done the business. This lad has been called into Liverpool, right? One of the top teams in the world right now, probably about to win the 20th league title. And he's done the business every time. He's very rarely let him down. He's had a couple of bad games. The FA Cup game last season. I remember he did have a bad game. I will admit that. Was that the 3-3? Was it, or the 4-3, or the one last season?
Which one is this? Kelleher?
Yeah.
Against United?
Yeah, Old Trafford.
When Amad Diallo scored in extra time. to win it in the FA Cup.
Yeah. Was that
I don't
fourth?
think he had a bad game. He probably might could have saved. You could have said maybe he might have saved Ahmad's goal, but I don't think he had a bad game as such.
Well,
But he has had last season. He had a couple of shaky moments when he first came into the squad, or came in as like when Alisson got injured. But then he turned it around completely and became the best player of all time again. So
there you go. So anyway, Rolling Stone, Moorhouse is a number 10. They're overloaded in that position. I can't see how he would get any game time.
he is a number 10. It's really just Bruno. I think the problem is he plays anyone at number 10 with attacking ability. So Garnacho's playing there. Ahmad will be back by the end of the season. Mount's playing there. Bruno's playing there. Yeah, it's hard, but it seems to be widely reported, Rolling Stone, that he will get his debut before the end of the season. So it'll probably be in a game where United are kind of playing for nothing, or probably hopefully to beat Leon, and then they're focusing on the Europa League, which will probably benefit Moorhouse that he can get a debut. Actually, it just came to me there, Dave. We're talking about camps. Do you remember a couple of years ago we had a camp in England? I don't know where exact. Can't remember. Was it Bristol or somewhere? Kenny had it with the Irish players that finished early in EFL, and it was. I remember Sean McLaughlin was called up for the first time, and Tom Cannon pulled out with tonsillitis because he had to get his tonsils out, and it was in the stage where people were talking about Cannon to England and stuff, but he actually had tonsillitis and had to pull out. I could see that sort of camp actually happening at the start of May when the lads who aren't in the playoffs are in. Well, it was in England. I guess it wasn't in England.
George's Park, wouldn't it be up in Brum?
I don't think it was in St George's Park. I think they had it in like Bristol. One of the championship clubs whose season had finished early. Do you remember when like their season finished early? So obviously there was no first team in. They're all away on holidays, so they all basically got called in. I'm gonna find it here.
Let's have a look here. May
it just says training camp, because I see stuff like players involved, but it doesn't say
training camp in England. Yeah.
Oh no, it is. I was 100% right. Apologize me right now. Stephen Kenny is starting gatherations for June qualifiers with a gathering in Bristol for Championship and League One
I'm
players.
not apologising to you. I was agreeing with you.
I have some memory, but I tell you that. How did I know it was Bristol? I have some.
Here we go. Yeah, world's most humble man over there. See what I have to put up with, folks. Jesus Christ, like a Labrador. Who's the best boy? Who's the best boy? Conor's the best boy. Christ, snowflake.
That's
right,
what I think actually could end up happening. That sort of thing.
Yeah, no, and it would absolutely make sense. No, I just thought
The only problem though is, the only problem with that is you don't play anyone. You just have a camp, and you just get to see lads in training. Obviously, you get to see them train, which is good, but you don't get to see them in the match environment as such, do you?
No, but he just wants to get to know them. You know, get his ideas across, get to know him. You know, look, I always remember Jack did it back in '86, except he had the Icelandic Triangle Tournament, which we won, Conor, first ever major tournament for the boys in green, 1986. Just saying, no Mickey Mouse tournaments here. And then the Irish, the Merseyside lads pulled out because we were going neck and neck for the title when we had Irish players at top clubs, Everton, Liverpool. Pulled him up, and he went up to oh Christ, Martin would know this. Lilleshall. Pulled him into Lilleshall. John Anderson drove him up. He was playing for Newcastle at the time. He got all the Merseyside lads, and he did the drill for about 10 minutes. He goes, "This is what I want. You all happy? Yeah, grand. Now, right, piss off." He was practicing his golf swing with his umbrella while he ran the lads through the drills. Different times, eh? And so it makes perfect sense. Anyway, where are we? Moorhouse. Yes, Alex. His reputation before joining United was 10 times that of Gallagher right now. He was man of the match in a UCL final and came 23rd in the 2023 Ballon d'Or. We can only dream of an Irish lad reaching those heights. Well, actually, Alex, Gallagher, well, first of all, Packy Bonner has been nominated for a Ballon d'Or in 1989. He didn't win it, but he has been nominated. And Gallagher has won the Champions League medal and a Premier League medal. Now, he didn't play in the final, but he was there and he played a very important
part. All I'm going to say is, didn't Onana would have had a better reputation joining United than Alisson would have had leaving Roma for Liverpool. So players peak at different ages, and Onana reached his peak
And it's all the way down for him now. So Keller's time is now. Nana's time was back in Milan. Rolling Stone, does anyone know Icons is great for Brentford and so awful for Ireland? I suspect it's down to Heimer's management. No, I'm going to. You hang on, Conor, and your lovely hair. There's a question about that. I'm going to answer this one. No, it's not down to Heimer's management. It's just he feels he has to do too much pressure on him. And actually, when he was, remember Conor, he was playing those balls out in the first half in Bulgaria, and he made a load of mistakes. Heimer, I heard on the commentary, Heimer actually said to him, stop doing that, and he stopped doing it. That's why he was less, doing stupid things with the ball. So no, it's not down to Heimer's management. I think Gary Neville said today that the standard player playing today is way below that of when he played. I agree as well. Conor, what do you think about a snowflake? Oh, sorry, Conor.
The standard of player is better.
No, it was worse. Better. It was better during Gary's time than it is now.
No, the average player is so much better these days. It's just that the top players these days are just robots, and they're not as creative, and the individual brilliance is gone in football, really.
So you agree?
No, I just said no, but the average player is so much better. Like, it was a lot easier to be a standout player when you were younger, like when they were playing against farmers who couldn't know the left foot. But everyone these days is so technically brilliant and so athletically great that it's harder to be a standout player.
Right. No. See, this is where I shine, folks.
Have you seen the state of the goalkeepers when you were younger? Oh my God. They were some of the worst players I've ever seen.
What, 2000s?
No, but that's not when you were younger.
I was younger in the 2000s. I was 25 years younger.
The 80s.
No, the 80s were terrible. No, we're not talking about the 80s. The 80s were terrible. And the 90s weren't great either. And if you look back, even some of the goalkeepers that are lauded now, but kind of like mid to late 90s, the goalies got better in the standard in the 2000s. No, I disagree there, and I'll tell you why. I think the standard of play is higher. It's quicker. It's better pitches. There's the players are more athletic. The drinking culture's gone. The balls are lighter. All that kind of stuff, right? All the aerodynamic haircuts, you name it. But they are robots. And back in the day when it was harder to play the game, and you saw these lads doing some, like Zidane, stuff he used to do on the pitch. It was incredible. Roberto Baggio, when he was outside of Palmgrass pocket. I could think back to players like John Barnes in the 90s. Unfortunately with you kids, Conor.
We had the greatest player of all time in our generation. So
who's that?
Messi.
Could he have done it on the Tuesday night in Stoke? Could he? Ronaldo did, to be fair. Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo. What a player. That guy. You used to have players trying to hatchet him down, and he just bounce off him. That boy was tough as nails. Ronaldinho, remember John Terry trying to do him in a new camp, and he bounced off Ronaldinho. No, I'm sorry. I do think the players now are overcoached. They are like robots. They're running channels, and they can't work things out for themselves. And that's probably what's happening to poor Nathan at the moment, Nathan Collins. Where back in the day, if you were an international player, you had to think for yourself because you didn't get a lot of time with the manager. You had maybe a camp that, like now, would tell you this is what I want, and the top players would have to adapt to it on little or no information. They have to work it out for themselves a little bit. So no, I think the standard play, yes, for all the science, it's quicker, blah blah blah. But I think some of the players, no, the individual brilliance, your Bergkamps, Roy Keane was a brilliant player, Vieira, Gerrard, even. You look at someone like Luis Suarez, from
he's modern type.
Yeah, but he.
But if you mean the last like 2-3 years, I would agree because it's just boring these days. But I mean, like what I consider he means is my generation, basically. Since I would probably say since 2010, since Pep's Barcelona team, that's when football really changed. In that sense,
like, it's boring.
Real.
It's so boring.
Yeah, it's boring. I don't disagree, but that's why international football, it's more moments of brilliance, and the League of Ireland is so much more entertaining than the Premier League.
But, the League of Ireland's crack. It's good crack. And Premier League is so boring. This is, oh my God.
It's the problem though when you have so many. The problem is that's when you have so many good teams. They all know that each team can hurt each other if they get a moment or an opportunity. And it's not like when I don't know, say for example, when United were winning titles or Chelsea were winning titles, when they played the bottom teams in the league, even though it was still probably the best overall standard of a league, the bottom teams were still there was quite a very considerable gap. Obviously, you still have the 3 promoted teams this year, but we do see them sometimes take points off bigger teams. And like you look at Wolves today, beat Spurs 4-2. Obviously, Spurs aren't great, but they still have a lot of very talented players. Like,
yeah, no, I just, Suarez, I know he's more a modern player. I remember in that Liverpool team, probably, in my opinion, the most talented player to ever play for Liverpool, like skill-wise. That boy could do it.
I would argue he's the greatest striker of all time. I think there's an argument to be made he's the greatest striker of all time.
Suarez.
Yeah. I know you can say R9, but Suarez done it for what? End up being 10 years. R9's peak didn't last that long because of injuries and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think there's, but then you watch videos of R9 doing it. I'm not calling him R9, Brazilian Ronaldo. You watch him doing it on a plough field in Moscow for Inter Milan. The boy was something else. He was talented, but some of these players, like, just you don't get it anymore. You don't get that brilliance. There's nobody now in football that you'd watch that would get you off your seat.
Cole Palmer gets me off my seat. Cole Palmer does. Kvitsi, Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, the PSG lads get you off your seat.
Yep.
PSG have brought back the excitement of football. Mbappe does when he's not playing up front. Lamine Yamal is a joy to watch.
Cole Palmer gets you off your seat.
Yeah,
really?
he's so good. But not in the last 2-3 months.
Must be shocking.
His first 18 months at Chelsea. Oh, he was unbelievable. He used to do stuff. He used to do stuff that you're like, oh, wow, like we haven't seen a player like that in the Premier League in a while. No, there is players out there that do get you entertained like that. But no, it's just few and far between. Like, I'm trying to think of all the clubs out there like that have players like that. Like Hazard was the last one in the Premier League that was really like a joy to watch. Like
he didn't really do it for very long either, did he?
Yeah, but he was still. He was some player.
Well, let's move it on. House of Daglish. I agree. The Premiership has gone to the dogs. Gone on the days of turning on the telly of a Sunday and seeing quality players. Today's game's too complicated and the players are dirt. I agree. Rolling Stone. I would love to have Craig Bellamy managing the Ireland team. Okay.
I think it's because of what GC said about you're not allowed to swap shirts and all when he's a manager team and all this stuff.
Oh, he's
Imagine you played against Ronaldo and you want to swap shirts with him and Ronaldo give you a shirt and you ask for the shirt back and you're like, no, I can't give it to you because my manager said not.
Yeah, well, you just do it privately.
Yeah, I know.
Just
no, but he'll see it because he'll see you come into the change room with the top off.
No, but I do agree with a bit of that because like the Manchester Derby, there's no passion in it anymore. Like it's boring. It's so boring, and he wants to bring back that us versus them mentality, and I agree with that. Exactly. So bad now. Declan Rice is considered one of the best midfielders in the world. Declan Rice is a very good player. And I actually see what he's saying there, right? And he's a quality player. I'd love to have him. But he's not one of the best. Well, he probably is one of the best in the world.
Not technically. Definitely not technically. In terms of technical ball playing midfielder.
He scores a free kick and everyone go, oh my God, this guy. Oh, wow. And then he tried to do it, didn't he? On the weekend, he couldn't do it.
But he's one of the best players in terms of sweeping things up and reading play. And
he's a good player. He's a good player. He's a very, very good player. He's not world class. He's a very good player, but he's not world class. I'm thinking of players like Lampard, like Gerrard, like Roy Keane, like Vieira. Your Makelele's, all these guys from the 2000s. Brilliant.
Someone.
Well, remind me.
Paul Scholes.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Paul Scholes, generational talent. Like some of these boys are just phenomenal. Just players like him just stand out now. But anyway, Harrison Dagley, today's game is overanalyzed too. You even see it in this chat. You would not have a clue what some people are talking about. Honestly, bunch of wannabes. You tell Aaron. The jargon like overloads and counter press drives me mad. Good man, Rolling Stone. I'm liking this guy. Ferris, Ira. Ask Conor what hair gel he uses. Go on, Conor.
I don't use hair gel, mate.
No, he uses salt. Is it salt?
Sea salt spray.
Sea salt spray. Used to bully people like it. No. Harrison Dalglish, back when I was growing up, Rice wouldn't even be playing for one of the top Premiership teams. Jesus, I think cleverly United had more ability. Ooh, wow. I agree.
Cleverly was crap.
he was crap, to be fair.
And Rice would have. Thing is, Rice is a type of player. As much as I hate Declan Rice, he would have succeeded at a high level in any generation because he's that type of midfielder that, what his ability offers in terms of he is still decent technically, and his ability to clean up play and link like go against out of possession is still extremely high level. That he would have been doing it for a top club no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
especially in England when there was a lot more of that sort of player playing in midfield compared to now.
Nick, I agree that the Prem is poor. Liverpool were gashed today, and yet they're top of the table. It's been a very poor season. Arsenal are brutal as well. Rolling Stone, in fairness, he is defensively great. This is right, and he is great at running with the ball, but I don't think he's ever played a line-breaking pass in his career. Harrison Dalglish, I do enjoy watching PSG since Mbappe left. Some wicked players they have. I hope we have an Irish player at that level soon. Nick says, yeah.
What a side they're unreal.
Excellent. I think Callagher should go to Newcastle, says Nick. I'd be happy with that. Fighting for the championship.
Yeah.
Or Champions League. Rolling Stone, that Georgianian lad, what a player he is. Georgia are on a serious upward trend.
What's his name? I said his name 5 minutes ago as one of the best players to enjoy watching.
Is there any chance Jacob Murphy at Newcastle?
It's Kvaratskhelia, by the way.
Okay. I'm not like I have a life.
Did you not see his goal against Aston Villa that everyone was going on about the other day? You would have seen it. The ball roll where he done Disassi and then smashed it in.
What day was that on?
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, I was in work. This isn't my full-time job.
Disgraceful.
Anyway, is there any chance Jacob Murphy at Newcastle deciding to play for Ireland? Is he Irish?
No, I don't know what it is. He said himself he's not eligible and stuff. But I don't know what it is. He's not eligible. Even Stephen Kenny said he's not eligible.
Okay. Niall Sullivan, where would he go? Does he get into any top 6 teams? That's Callagher.
That's Collins. I think we were mid Collins conversation. Look, the next few conversations.
Yeah, he probably will. You answered that, didn't you, earlier on? Probably no one looking for him. Nathan Collins has been poor for Ireland recently, although performing well in the league, says Carl O'Brien. Yeah, we've done that to death a little bit. Don't think Collins gets into any of the top 6 teams. Probably more through misfortune than anything else. Kieran Caddy, Evan Ferguson and Boston Lawal need to get good moves in the summer, as will be big players for Ireland and are too good to be sitting on the bench. I think Heimer will play a strong team against Senegal, but an experimental team against Luxembourg. Giving more players a chance will increase competition in a squad, which can only benefit the team, so players won't get complacent. Great show, lads. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Kieran. We appreciate that.
I think it's Kieran, by the way.
Sorry,
the father. Look at the father. Have respect for your own language.
Are you a Oswego speaker yourself, Conor?
I would have been back in the day.
You would have been back in the day. Yeah, we all were. Yeah, and then I left school last year. Yeah, I do agree there. I'd be happy enough with that if they don't play. If they don't play a extra friendlies like behind closed doors or like a training match, whatever, then yeah, I'd go with that. Luxembourg experimental side, give him a go.
Yep.
Rolling Stone, Roy Keane is modest about his ability. Downtown 123. Collins is grand, but Ferguson's situation is very worrying. Well, hopefully he gets a nice little preseason into him. Darren C. Jacob Ryan, what a second half of the season he's having. Yeah, he's doing really well since Moyes has come in. Dean Flood should hopefully be seeing Ahmed Mohamed playing European football next season.
It could be Champions League.
Well, yeah, hopefully he does get a move. I'd have him in League On in that team anyway.
I believe they have an option to buy.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. You ain't going to get it in Forest. If Collins is doing too much, that is on Heimer. He's following his instructions. I don't have access to off the ball, so I don't know what Giles thinks of Heimer. I'm sure he isn't impressed with him. He's not really on off the ball anymore, is he?
He must have done it, but there must have been an appearance. I'd say Rolling Stone must have seen it come up on the phone, but none of us seen it either, to be honest. Someone might put it in the comments if they've seen it, but
that'll behind a paywall. We're not behind a paywall, Rolling Stone. Phil Cousins, how many of these CBs is Collins better than? Stones, Diaz, Van Dijk, Canati, Colville, Fofana, Gabriel, Saliba, Romero, Van de Ven, Euro, Maguire. Not many lads. Well, he's better.
Stones is ready for a retirement home. He's always injured. Diaz is top player, but he's quite injury prone. Van Dijk, obviously the best in the world. Kanate would be better than Collins. Colwell has been a bit crap. He's better than him. Fofana is a good player, but hasn't really kicked on at Chelsea. Gabriel class, Saliba class, Romero, Van de Ven, both very good, but both are always injured. And what's the biggest skill in football? What's the availability? Is the I can't remember the term, but whatever, availability is the best thing you can have. Football. And Yarro's still very young, but he's very good. And Maguire just turns like a bus.
Yeah, Maguire's Maguire, like 18. He's better than Maguire. And he's 23, lads. Don't forget that. I'm not saying he's going to go now. He probably needs another season, maybe 2 seasons at Brentford.
And these clubs look at resale value, even if they never end up resealing. They look at what if we bought him for 50 million now, he could be worth 18 million in 2 years. So
even if he went like to a Villa or someone, tops just outside competing, and then he stepped up.
Newcastle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Collins isn't good enough on the ball to go to a top club. Decent enough, but doesn't excel at it, which is what the big clubs will be looking at. I think he's comfortable on the ball. I think he'll improve on it, Nick. I do think he's actually quite good on the ball.
I think he's excellent on the ball.
Yeah. Even some of his long-range passing, when you see him get to do that for Ireland, I know it was only against Bulgaria, a very poor side, but some of that passing was superb. It was amazing. And obviously we saw some of the passing in Plovdiv was just, what are you doing? Stop doing this, please. Just not paying attention to the guy cutting in across when he played a hospital pass. Anyway, Nick, fantastic box defender, though. Well, that's another thing he has. He's great at the last ditch tackles also, I think he's a quality player. He'll get better. It doesn't matter how good Collins is. If he doesn't translate his club form into international form, he is useless to us. He's dead to me. Dean Flood, I think we're much more likely to see Collins to make a big move. Move to a big club outside of England. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's, in a decent league. Nothing wrong with that at all. Rolling Stone, why is there such an emphasis on centre-backs to be great on the ball? As the midfielders are supposed to be on the ball players, are supposed to be the ball players in the team.
Because they're always the first people who have the ball. The modern football is you play out from the back, so they're the kick starters of the attack. But you're right, though, midfielders, you want the ball more, but it's just the way it is. The way teams don't want to kick the ball long, so they need to have the ability to pass it through the lines into the midfielders. Yeah.
Van Dijk wouldn't have to play 70-yard pass for Liverpool if the guys in front of him were real ball players. Yeah, but sometimes he'll just do something, like if they're not moving or they're, he'll just hit something.
Someone makes a run. It's just about runs and stuff. Liverpool's midfield, as much as I don't dislike Liverpool, McAllister and Curtis Jones and Gravenberch are all excellent footballers.
Is that hard to say, does it? No, and it's not a new thing either. McGrath's a ball playing centre half. Although Jack didn't want him doing it. Lawrenson was a ball playing centre half. Anyway, I was optimistic, says Nick, for the Ferguson move to West Ham. But he's just never looked 100% fit. And now Fulcrook has come back from injury and looked far more sharp. And he's their player, isn't he, as well? So we all were, Nick. We were all optimistic. Not one of us said it was a bad move, to be fair. I didn't envisage this happening, but it did. Dean Flood, when have Irish fans ever been patient with our strikers? The boy will come good and people will praise him, same as Troy. Agree with that. How quick are we to build players up and tear them down, eh? Very quick. Rolling Stone, the fact that Ferguson is getting so little game time means he must not be performing a training. It must be his patelis tendon.
It must be.
Scusi, I honestly think the pathway going forward for Irish footballers is outside of England. There are more opportunities elsewhere. I think it's certainly looking that way. Dean Flood, 2 to 3 years. Dagestan, forget.
I think I said earlier about sending your kid 2-3 years Dagestan.
Yeah. Nick, I'd love to see more Irish players go to the French league. The amount of young players getting game time over there is mad. Kind of had to, haven't they? Because they've no money in the league. PSG have sort of gobbled up everything. There's no real money there in the league.
It always over the last 10 years has produced so much talent, and it's how you make your money at the end of the day. If you're not going to be a Premier League club, or even an Italian or Spanish league, the way you make your money is by being a selling club.
No, I mean, like, it's they're not going to make money from TV rights because McDonald's, who sponsored the league, were basically giving away league season passes, rest of season passes if you buy a burger. I got the League On pass for dirt, like 20 quid for the rest of the season. Like, there's no money in the league, so they have to generate revenue by creating players and selling them. Dean Flood, David Dunn's inner monologue. Who is killing Sony? Oh God, sorry lads, I'm not perfect. What can I say? I was thinking, is Sanyo an Irish name? Even Kush, can we hear each of you Ireland starting 11 if you were manager? Not Heimer. Say in a one-off playoff match against a team of our standard, Scotland, Hungary, etc. Cheers. Go ahead, Conor.
Kelleher, Doherty, Collins, O'Shea, Brady, Ogbene. No, sorry. Cullen, Smallbone, Azaz, Ogbene on the right. Sure, maybe if you're playing a team at a similar level, I'd probably just put Ogbene on the left, Fessy on the right, and if Ferguson is Evan Ferguson, I'd put him up front. But if we were playing in the morning, I'd try Parrott up front.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Dean Flood, would Dowda get a move, Cardiff get relegated?
You guys signed a new contract not long ago.
To League Two, maybe. Yeah, he did, didn't he? I mean, they're going down, man. They're going down fast. They're sorry, folks. Can't stop fucking yawning. Apologies. I swore. Thanks, Conor. It's your fault. Yeah, Cardiff. I mean, they are fighting at the moment. I mean, it's very tight down there. You are. I mean, clubs as far up as like 17th could, are in a relegation battle there. So I don't know. He probably wouldn't, as you say. He got a.
He ran CR7.
Nick thought JP played well when he came on. He can cover so much ground with his long legs. I take it as John Patrick for Stad Ram. Nick says, yeah, fuck Stoke, but once they're safe from relegation, they're more likely to throw Boston in. Dean Flood says, Casey starting was a surprise. Goes to show you, doesn't it, that this Roy doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing, really. He's just, seeing what sticks. Rolling Stone, what will happen tomorrow when he goes back to Brighton again? Surely they aren't going to send him out load again.
I don't know, because he signed a new contract, a 4-year contract in summer 2024. So they might send him abroad, which I think if they're going to send him out on loan, they need to do get him a league that suits his style of football. Dutch league, Belgian league or something. They have that. What's it called? What's the club called? Sorry, that they're affiliated with. Sorry, I'm too tired. I can't remember. The club they're affiliated with it. Anyway, they own in Belgium.
The worry about Heimer is he still doesn't know what his best 11 and what formation to play. Our players are so much of a muchness, so he should pick an 11 for the next match and should just settle. Old dude 420. Ferguson will come good. Just give him time. Baylor, Ditsy strikes again. Would walk into the Irish team. Rolling Stone. Who's Ditsy? David McGoldrick.
I think you asked this last week, by the way, Rolling Stone.
David McGoldrick.
And he's 16 goals in League Two this season at 37 years of age. Absolute phenomenal player.
Yeah. Dave McGoldrick, Eddie McGoldrick's son. John O'Mahony. Is Sean McLaughlin or Marcus Harness ready to play for Ireland?
No, I don't know. It's not that they're not ready. It's just I think there's players ahead of them in their positions. But Marcus Harness actually seems to be doing really well at Derby as of late. But now the players ahead of him, and Sean McLaughlin as a centre half, definitely not making it. But he's been playing a bit at left back for Stoke, Stoke Hull. But no, I don't think he'll make it anytime soon.
Baylor, just wondering, would it not be possible to hold a friendly between the Irish national team and the League of Ireland Best 11 for a warm-up summer game in the future?
I don't know when you're going to play that, though.
Would he get released by clubs? You probably have an Ireland team, but I'd say a lot of players would pull out of that. I mean, he'd want to play in that. Like with all due respect.
And I
To
don't
the
think the
League
League of Ireland clubs aren't going to release players mid-season, like for
Yeah.
the honest international break. But
I'd say we've got a receipt coming up down in the comments. Phil Cousins, Liverpool fans were complaining about Keller just last week. He was useless against Fulham. I think that a few of them were useless, to be fair, Phil. He did make a mistake for one of them, but I mean, it's 3 goals. Rolling Stone, he just had a bad game. It happens. Good
I'm
man.
loving the positivity.
Yeah, we're converting you. Martin Fitzpatrick, yeah, you said you weren't live till Monday, lads. Sorry, Martin. Blame Dave, Martin. Actually, yeah, you can't blame me. Sorry. Working commitments did come up, so I do apologize, Martin. That is actually my fault. Alex, Keller's time is now, and Anana's time is back in Milan. But please explain why Anana's prevented plus 2.34 goals this season. Keller has prevented minus 0.45 goals. Anana also has a better save percentage. What?
Onana's played so much more games, like, so he's more likely to have goals prevented ratio, and he faces more shots than Kelleher does at Liverpool. And Onana actually had an excellent start to the season. He started the season really strongly, and then it just all fell apart.
There you go, Alex. What he said.
And by the way, he's quoting that's your quote, by the way, not mine. I didn't say Kelleher is now, and Onana is whatever. That was your quote.
Just poking the bear. That's what I do. I do it so well. Ashik 8199. Noah Hull was a bloody good goalkeeper. He was actually probably a standout goalkeeper of the 80s. In fact, he was superb. Rolling Stone, the 80s was arguably the strongest ever in terms of technically gifted players.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No, Ronnie Whelan, Jan Moby, Glenn Hoddle, Chris Waddle. You haven't got a clue what any of these players are.
I do know who they are.
You don't know who they are.
I'm sick of seeing Glenn
You don't know
on the fucking screen.
You don't know football, Conor.
Okay.
You think it was invented in 2002. Never mind 1990. 2012. Not even 1992. Yeah, the match. Elton Wellesby. Do you know who Elton Wellesby is?
No.
Do you know who Brian Moore is?
Yeah.
Who is he?
He's the father of Sean Moore.
And you take the piss out of me when I don't know some obscure player.
Oh, sorry that you're alive and you know these players, but I technically was not alive and I didn't know these players.
Doesn't matter. I wasn't alive during World War II, but I knew who the bad guys were. No. See,
that's what the history books
say. Well, no,
Bryce Mitchell.
Wow, controversial. But I'm just saying, like, you have no clue about the 80s. Rolling Stone, I agree with you. Some fabulous players. This Philistine.
Fabulous players in every generation, so people need to cop on.
Oh, there's okay players now, not brilliant. Baylor, to be fair, you can think of these outstanding players, but these players are outstanding since the rest of the quality was so far behind. We all know that they could play in modern day. Yeah. That's the thing you have to remember. Players like Graham Souness, also, who's a fabulous, technically gifted player.
Love to kick at players.
Yeah, but he had to. That was the game.
He took it too far. He was a scumbag.
Oh, he did take it too far. But that's what you had to do to survive, because you didn't have cameras at every ground. You had one telecamera, and that was it. But they have cameras all over the ground now, and you could get away with things. Alex Kelleher would absolutely flop at United, no doubt about it. Okay, Alex. Ditzy is greatest striker of all time, Conor.
Yeah. Agreed.
Josh Cullen gets me off my seat. Piss break, Nick, yeah?
So does Jorginho. So does... Who else gets you off the seat? Tom Cleverley. Yeah.
Alex, God knows what happens to Onana next season, but all I know is he won't be sat on the bench for 7 years like Kelleher. Don't be shocked when Kelleher resigns at Liverpool or resigns at Liverpool again to sit on the bench. Alex, I'm getting a feeling you're not a Kelleher fan. Huh. Baylor, I doubt it gets me off my seat to turn off the screen. Baylor, you own the show. That's the comment of the night. Rolling Stone, Adam Wharton gets me off my seat. He plays the game so simply and so beautifully. As Johan Cruyff said, it's the hardest thing in football to play the game simple.
Roland, sort of a question for you. Why does he get you off? He's a brilliant player. He's an excellent player. But it's like, did Michael Carrick get you off your seat? Does Rodri get you off your seat? They're obviously brilliant players, but they're not going to get you off your seat. I don't think a player that gets you off your seat, you kind of needs to be I don't know if you agree, Dave, has to be like a winger or like a number 10 that just has that moment of magic, can do it at any point, or is a striker that can drop deep, do something. Not a defensive midfielder as such that is just brilliant at keeping the play taken over or so composed on the ball, but I wouldn't say that's up there to get you off your seat.
No, players got me on my seat where Carlos Tevez even. When I watched him at Blackburn, he was a superb player. Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo did. Wayne Rooney did, to be fair. He was going to do something duffer. You know, these kind of old school footballers, street footballers that you just don't really get anymore because. Dean Flood, I agree. There's less personality, but we can't give out the Manchester Derby. But Manchester Derby is too friendly when genuinely funny moments like Newari doing Haaland celebration and immediate jumps on him.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but that's.
Was Lewis Skelly done a celebration, wasn't it? Wasn't there? No.
Yeah, I mean, that's tame. That's tame.
Yeah, but the problem is when you do something like that and the media goes, "Oh, you're the worst person in the world." Like,
I mean, Adebayor scoring against Arsenal for Man City. I think it was called Eastlands at the time in the ground, now called the Etihad, and he ran down towards the fans. You know, stuff like that. I mean, that's brilliant. You know, I was thinking of players like Faustino Sprilia, Diego Maradona. Those guys had personality. You know, these guys don't. I mean, when you put it this way, Dean, and I'll put this out there to anybody. And I remember, like when you watch Under the Cosh, I know it can be a bit sycophantic. It can be a bit sometimes, and I can only watch it in small doses. But the stories of these lads are superb. What's Harry Kane going to talk about? Oh, I know we had sauce with our chips, like, you know, and you know the manager told us.
But the problem is you can't just people use. I don't know if you're, but people use this to hold it against these players as an excuse to hate these players when it's literally not their fault. They're just following the rules and they can't break the rules.
But they're boring. There's no personality. It's dull. It's why we have a crap derby. It's why we have Jamie Redknapp. It's why we have Michael Richards on the telly, and you think he's funny, Conor. And I pity you. I feel sorry for you, Conor.
Oh, sorry.
You probably watch the Baller League as well, don't you?
No, I don't. It's the biggest load of crap ever. Don't get me started on that.
Don't get me started on that. It's the biggest load of crap ever.
But no, I'm just honest, and I know people who
I feel for you, Conor. I feel for you. I feel sorry for
Mr. Bourne.
You find Michael Richards funny.
You find no one funny. You don't watch. You don't like any.
I do. I thought I could show you clips of Eamon Dunphy. Absolutely amazing. And some of the old lads from the 70s and 80s that used to do punditry. Brilliant stuff.
Right, go on.
Anyway. Aaron Gubbins, well, that's a great show again. I agree as much as I would not love to as a 23-year-old. I absolutely loved watching the Prem with Liverpool players like Alonso Kite. I remember my mate used to call him Dirk Shite, Gerrard and Torres. Alex, Anana forced to move away from Barca Ajax at a young age. He elevated himself to the biggest club in England. Keller has been sat on the bench like a good boy for years. Show some respect. Yeah, show some respect to Keller, Alex. Absolutely. And look at Anana now. He's shit. Like he is. He's absolutely garbage. You know, Alex, like, I mean, this is all great and he did all this, but, you know, the job of the goalkeeper is to stop the ball from going to the back of the net. He has to be able to pick the ball up and hold it in these things called hands, and he doesn't do it. I'm sorry. Aaron Gubbins, Liverpool v United was unreal. Them days, Chelsea had class players, loved Drogba. Yeah, that Chelsea-Liverpool rivalry was superb in the mid-2000s.
He's not all about Chelsea-Liverpool, by the way.
Huh?
He's all about Liverpool United, not Chelsea-Liverpool.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm talking about, like, I think of Drogba, I think of that, like the ghost goal, Luis Garcia, this kind of thing. Benayoun was a baller. I also loved Arshavin. Yeah, the 4 goals against Liverpool.
Yeah. But he was not. Arshavin was never a brilliant player. He just had moments of doing very well. He was never a top player. Like
Benayoun, though, I tell you what. See Benayoun.
Yeah, he was decent.
Superb skill, like so underrated. If he was around in the 70s and 80s, he would have been like massive. What a player he was! Skill. Rolling Stone, Didi Hamann believes Dembele is the most technically gifted player in the world. He has some crazy opinions.
Well, it depends what you consider tech. If you can say the best 2-footed player in the world, it is Dembele. He's with 2 feet. Even Thomas Tuchel had said it. He was asked like the most gifted player he's managed, and he said obviously the obvious one is Neymar, but the one he couldn't believe was Dembele because he was taking corners from both sides with both feet and taking free kicks with both feet. Yeah, Dembele Dembele is, he does a bit. So he's sometimes a bit brainless, but in terms of his technical ability, unreal.
So I just seeing out what you sent to Martin there in the WhatsApp chat there. Hi Martin. Aaron Goodwins, watch Tom Cannon. He was awful. Showed no interest, no move, no hard work. Yeah, it's not going well for him at the moment. The Modern English Game says Alex does not cater to the exciting players. Look at Pogba, Hazard, Ozil, Martial, Thiago, etc. from recent years. Skillful flower players to get vilified with the English media. Pogba, I don't really rate Pogba.
What?
Pogba?
Pogba, technically wise and ability wise, is one of the best midfielders to ever play football, and you cannot even say that. If you say he's not one ability wise, not one of the best footballers to ever play football.
Oh yeah, ability wise, when he's not playing in the toughest league in the world, when he's playing in the league where he has space. He has. Sorry, how well did he do for United?
He had bums beside. He still had a lot of when he turned.
He
like
was rubbish for United.
He was
when he had space. If you gave the lad space and time and space on the ball, yeah, he could do it like any other professional footballer.
He never had a good midfield. The only time that it suited him at United was when he had Matic and Herrera with him in midfield.
You closed him down, he couldn't do shit.
No, it's just they had him playing too deep. They had him play as a number 6.
Excuses, man. No.
No, it did. He could have done more, obviously, but he still is. What a player! What a player!
What a player that never did it in England. Couldn't do it in England. Didn't have the wherewithal to do it. Didn't have the gumption to do it. Wasn't arsed at doing it. And when you pressed him and you harried him, he couldn't do it.
But what was it? He was never going to. Whether he turned up like he did for France in the United jersey, they were never going to win anything because the team around him was crap.
He did it. He did it for France. Because in international football, you get more time and space.
Yeah, but he still had better players around him, and if you,
of course,
Pogba was a joke. He was an absolutely egregious player.
He was a joke. You're right. He absolutely was a joke. Absolute gobshite.
If you don't think Paul Pogba is one of the most technically gifted players ability wise, and I do think he didn't help himself at United at times, but if he had a proper midfield function around him, tell me a single time at United he played.
Okay.
Number 6 beside him.
He was so good, but he was only good when he has good players around him, is what you're saying, Conor. Give me a fucking break, would you?
They never played in the proper midfield.
Roy Keane played in shit Ireland teams, and he got those lads and elevated. No, I'm just telling you what I know. And he elevated them. Pogba couldn't do it.
Yeah, but he played against the best league in the world.
He's playing in the best league in the world, and he couldn't do it.
What did you want him to do? What? We had no
options beside him. I want to do it, Conor. Steven Gerrard did it. He did it in the Premier League, and he
just played hero ball. It was all about Steven Gerrard.
He still did it. Pogba couldn't do it. He's one of the best ability players. Would you get off? Fuck off. Would you?
No, he is.
Bollocks.
Yes. How is he not?
But I've just given you several reasons. He's amazing, but he has to have the right players around him. And
every player needs every player needs players beside him.
Get off, would you?
Everyone needs players beside him to be a top player.
He has to, you're right. So he can only. Oh my God! Listen to
you. Need the right players around you. You need the right players around you.
He had good players around him at Man United, and he was absolutely dreadful.
What midfielders
was good? Absolutely dreadful.
Go on, tell me. Go on.
I mean, I don't know the United team off the top of my head.
But you said he had good players around him.
All right, then who did he have around him? You name them, and I'll tell you. And let's see if they were good or not. Go on.
Matic. Finished when he came to United. Finished.
Right.
He'd one season.
Mata as well. What was while Mata playing there?
So while Mata used to play on the right wing for United.
Yeah.
So what was going to do? And then he had Herrera, who was good, but he was just good. And then he had Michael Carrick at the start when Michael Carrick was done. And then when Bruno signed, obviously you're not going to fit the two of them in the same team. And then Pogba ended up playing left wing. And he had Scott McUseless, who was scared to touch the ball.
He's doing really well now for Napoli, but okay.
Yeah, but he plays a different role.
So he had good players around him. So you just a minute. I thought, I'm not going to know everything about Man United.
If you watch Scott McTominay play at Man United as a number 6,
so you just said
one of the worst.
So you just said he had a good player beside him, but he was just good, and he had Bruno Fernandes there to begin it.
No,
and then he had
Bruno. You're talking shite.
No. You said he had Matt was a good player, but he played out in right.
Yeah, played out in right. What about midfield? Midfield. He used to play in a double pivot for United, and it used to be players around him that were crap. When you had Scott McTominay play as number 6 beside Pogba, oh my God, what a useless footballer he was for United playing that deep. I still think McTominay is crap, but playing deep. Oh, no.
Paul Pogba, overrated. Never did it in England. He has to have good players around him, so he's a luxury player.
He did do it in
basically.
England, though. It's a lie to say he never played well in England. He had lots of good performances in England.
He was lazy, poor attitude, poor application.
Victifying him. Just a Graham Souness lover you are.
I'm not Graham Souness lover.
Just a Graham Souness lover.
That man destroyed the Liverpool football team in 1991, so I'm not Graham Souness lover at all. And I think Souness does talk absolute dribble sometimes. He just shouts at clouds. But Pogba was absolutely dreadful.
Oh,
and we're going to move on. I'm sorry, like you said,
he was
didn't
that
have good
bad,
players
but he
around
was
him.
that bad for United that Real Madrid wanted to play over 100 million from. That's how bad he was when he came to United. After a couple of seasons, Real Madrid wanted to pay over 100
He probably
million.
could have
That's
done.
how bad.
But he probably
That's how
could have
bad
done
he
a
was.
job But he probably could have done a job in a slower, less aggressive league like La Liga. He couldn't do it in the top league, which is the Premier League, and he couldn't because midfield is the hardest position in that league to play because you don't have time and space on the ball like you have in other leagues. Simple, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't. Why did Alonso go to Real Madrid and tear it up? Mascherano went to La Liga and tore it up because they were playing in the Premier League.
I wouldn't say Mascherano tore it up, and he ended up playing centre half. Like,
yeah,
centre
shows
half.
you how good he was.
Yeah, but no, stop with it.
Well, Sebastian Varane came over to England, did shit for United, and he was a great player at Lazio in Serie A.
Okay.
Anyway, you brought it up, so where are we, Alex? This is a factor as to why exciting players nowadays are. I love you, really, Conor, but you talk some shit sometimes.
No, you're in your own wee world.
Yeah, I've taken the blue pill. Matrix fans will get that. Or the red pill, I don't fucking know. I never liked the Matrix. This is a factor as to why exciting players nowadays are playing in France, Germany, or Spain. You can be the best player on the team, but not good enough unless you're smacking into lads all game. Rolling Stone, yeah, Pogba was an underappreciated genius. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Rolling Stone.
He got blamed for everything at Man United.
He did got blamed for absolutely everything. No, he had to play with Lingard in that midfield, who was crap.
He's not going to send you a jersey, Conor.
I disrespect the supplers.
Lads, have you big plans for shows in the US when we make the World Cup? Where's Prendy tonight? Prendy's in Portugal tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in Portugal. Prendy in Portugal. Prendy. But yeah, of course we will. We will be there. I'm not going near Dave when I get there because Pogba's going to be back playing for France in the World Cup and he's going to end up winning the World Cup by himself. But
Rolling Stone, football and modern music, I still can't decide which is lower quality. Both best in the 80s. Alex, Xerxes, technical flair player, was booed by his own fans just months after signing. Meanwhile, Highland, who couldn't control a balloon, gets different treatment because he shows passion and desire. I think there's a little bit of truth there, actually, to be fair.
Torchy, very good player.
Alex, English football is backwards. I thought you'd love Sabrina Carpenter, Rolling Stone. Who's Sabrina Carpenter? Even I know who Sabrina Carpenter is. Let me guess. Karen Carpenter's daughter. You have no idea who Karen Carpenter is, do you? Yeah. No. Graham Souness was like a combination of Scholes and Keane. He was a genius up there with John Giles. Yeah, he was. He really was. He was a technically he was a brilliant player, Souness. Josh Cullen was poor man's Glenn Whelan, says Goosey. Did Scholes not get you off your seat, Rolling Stone? I think he's...
No, it's because you didn't put him in your conversation.
IP Media checking in now, says Bill. Only hopefully nobody spoke about me. Yeah, that's a lie. And no, he didn't actually. I'm sure John Giles got plenty of Irish fans off their seats. Well, do you know, for Ireland, actually, I think he was a great player for Leeds. He was doing Rabonas and everything for Leeds, but I think for Ireland, he was a bit short back and sides, if I remember reading correctly. Obviously, finished playing before I was born. Arnold Gubbins, lads, how much lower can Obafemi go? It's really bad from now, isn't it, Conor?
It's like the Mick McCarthy thing. Can it get worse? It can.
It can.
Yeah, it can.
Dean Flood, Paul on his day, Pogba. Yes, Dean. Thank you. Nick, Pogba for France was insane, yeah, because he had loads of space and time on the ball. Yeah, brilliant for France, is Rolling Stone. Who were your favourite players in 2010 and above for United and Liverpool? Torres was... No, I think actually at that time Torres was finished when he pulled up in the World Cup. 2010 World Cup final, he was never the same player. But before that, Torres was superb. I'm going to say Luis Suarez. Bit of a nut job. bit of his, stuff he's done. You all right there, Conor? You just sniffing
No, it's
the
just
microphone.
an outlandish take to say your favorite Liverpool player was Suarez. I don't think you need to explain yourself why Suarez was your favorite player because he was a world class footballer.
I know, but it's just,
all time.
but like,
Come on, give us some more takes. Give us some more outlandish players. Someone that no one else would say, or someone that's more
the question was, who was my favorite player in 2010 and above?
favorite players since 2010. Go on, give us more.
See, that Liverpool team fell apart in 2009.
Ricky
Actually.
Lambert not up there. Jay Spearing, no.
John Joe Shelby, you're for me. Brendan Rodgers, you ever watch that being Liverpool?
Yeah,
you're for me. Coutinho was excellent at Liverpool. He came in when we had the no. To be fair, like I think that team that Klopp assembled with the front four, the Fab Four of Coutinho, Firmino, Mane, and Salah, superb. And they were so different. Like they worked so well together. Were so different. And Coutinho was amazing because he could mop anything up, and he was that guy that could just fucking hit it in the top corner, like the game against Stoke. I remember a few years ago. And then he left, didn't he, for Barcelona? But I think we bought Van Dijk.
Mine? Well, I don't have Liverpool, but United. I don't even know what I'm talking about United here. I'm sick of talking about United in general.
Pogba.
Pogba's up there. He's one of them, but he's not. I wouldn't say his favorite. It'd be Martial, currently Amad Diallo, Herrera. I loved Herrera back today. Used to love Ander Herrera. Used to love a bit of Eric Bailly. He was such a good player, just always injured. Who else did I used to love? Darren Gibson, John O'Shea. No, not them. Paddy McNair. But yeah, no, it was like Martial, Amad Diallo, Eric Bailly, Ander Herrera. Love a bit of Vidic. That's really it since 2010. Obviously, you could say Scholes and stuff, but like I wouldn't really say about like Scholes and Giggs and all thingy. But
those lads finished in like
they still were playing. The 2013 was Scholes last year when Ferguson went, but he was still there, but it wasn't prime Scholes. Like
I remember Scholes actually. He came out of retirement for against City. It was weird. It was weird watching him. It came out of nowhere, and he had no muscle mass. He'd lost all his muscle mass because he hadn't played for such a long. It was really weird. Gary Mulcahy. Pogba was awful. Thank you. Rolling Stone. All Liverpool Man United players came before 2010. No,
I think he means the top players, I'd imagine.
No, like Salah, Firmino, and Van Dijk.
What does he mean?
I have no idea. Aaron Gubbins, is there any chance Gallagher could get a move to Barcelona?
Actually, did I say that? Did I said in a stream before about that? If you look at
the
situation about Ter Stegen and Szczesny's played lots, emergency signing he was, but I don't know. I'd imagine I'd say it's a type of country that they wouldn't really invest in them. Irish goalkeeper, they'd probably just sign a Spanish keeper.
Frank Lampard said that Pogba was more talented than himself. Lampard wasn't very talented though. Oh, disagree with that, Rolling Stone. Chelsea's top goal scorer. Bill has something very said. Do not put it up on here, by the way, because that will get flagged on YouTube. But did you see what Bill said? By Scott McTominay.
Yeah. Well, he sent me a comment about you as well.
Did he? What did he say?
Just said something. You might have something wrong with you for your opinion on Pogba.
Yeah, well, see, Bill, bless him. When he grows up, he'll realize that not everything is tribalism, and you can actually have an opinion on things that isn't. It's not.
Liverpool. No, in fairness, Bill hates a lot of players. I've never seen a man hate Dallo as much in my life.
Well, there you go. What about Fred? Says Nick.
Fred, I used to love Fred. Fred's such a likable guy. He's such a crap footballer, but you just love him.
Yeah, a lot of that going around at United. Paul Pogba never did it in England, but was in the PFA Team of the Year twice. They must have made a typo, did they? Thank you, Alex. See, we agreed.
Yeah, that bad. Never done it.
We agreed in the end there, Alex. Rolling Stone, another crazy opinion from hand. He thought Mason Mount was a special player. Alex Kingsley Coleman, who has played for PSG, Juventus, Bayern, and France, said Pogba is the best player he's ever played with. I don't care. I really don't give a fuck. I have my opinion, and I'll stick by it. Lad never did it in England. Reed McLaughlin, Suarez is the worst. Fucking Dracula. Yeah, I mean, look, he lunatic. But what a player. Probably the most skilled player to ever play for Liverpool, without the best player ability wise. Forget about your legendary status. You know, Dalglish, obviously, Gerrard, all those guys, heroes, whatever. Totally, and especially Dalglish when it came to Hillsborough and all that. What a gentleman and what a leader, and what that man did for the club and the city, by the way. But Suarez, in terms of ability, raw ability, for me the best. Wharton's ability is Skulls like.
I'd say it's more Carrick like.
And Scuzzy, there are very few head cases left in football. And folks, that is where we're going to leave it there. Over 1,800 of you watching us tonight. Thank you very much. Conor, thank you for your mad opinions yourself. Yes, join us during the week. We will be back for the League of Ireland review. We will have a midweek Oi Big at some stage, which will be recorded. And we will be live Sunday or Monday. I'm not going to commit myself this time, but you're going to have Martin and Conor on it. Martin's been away in the sunshine for a couple of weeks, so he can pull the slack. You are. Conor, thank you, I suppose.
I'm sick of you. No.
Don't
Back
blame.
on our Sunday slot, which is always my favorite rather than a Monday. But since you're so soft, you don't do Mondays. But no, it's good to be back on a Sunday. They're always enjoyable. We always have Mr. Rolling Stone is always in the comments when it's a Sunday.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, John Giles has the best opinions of football, and he was one of the few pundits who realised that Michael Carrick was shit. And on that bombshell, guys, we're going to leave it there. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button as well. It really does help. Tell your friends and family about it. Go on. Why not? You can also support the page, by the way. If you go into the comments below, you can click on the coffee. Buy us a coffee. It really does help because we need money. The ads thing didn't work out, did it? So we said, you know what? We're not going to do that to people because it's not fair on YouTube. So yeah, support. You can buy us a coffee. Anything you can afford. It'd be fantastic. The link is in below. If not, sound.
Just subscribe and like.
Just subscribe and like. We'll do that. Also, head over to a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter account. And if you haven't already, please head over to lansdowneroar.ie for opinion and a audio version of this. You can also get that wherever your podcasts are from. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He is Conor McAvoy, Pogba lover. And this is Lansdowne ROAR. Good night and God bless.